My name is Archaic, and I'm here today to bring you some old Brood War. This is a game between Nada and TT from the 2006 Shinhan OSL Season 2. And I've decided to start watching this OSL from the round of 16. The OSL has a crazy format that I still don't really understand, but back then they had a dual tournament, I believe it was called, a round of 24, where they had group stages with round robins. First and second place ended up moving on to the round of 16. Third place had a weird wild bracket, also group stage, and I don't really understand it, so I'm probably explaining it all wrong. But right away here we see TT bringing in a probe for what I would assume is proxy barracks. This is before I actually started watching Brood War, and the reason I'm going back is just to broaden my understanding, broaden my knowledge about the history of Brood War. And I've been, through researching, I've decided that this is the first tournament I want to watch, partly because it has some great names. And the first one, you probably recognize him, but it is Nada, and he has made it into the round of 16 of this tournament. There's a great write-up from Plexa, sort of giving you an overview of Nada before this tournament, which I think I'll link in the description. It's a great read. Nada's dad had just passed away in a terrible car accident. Nada had been slumping before this event, and so it's really interesting to see the storyline of Nada as this tournament. We see him dropping that, looks like very standard, barracks into refinery play, and he does not know what's coming. The other thing I want to mention is, I'm going to be recording these VODs, and it's going to give you sort of a false view of how these events used to run. The OSL was actually done over multiple days, so the players would play their first game of the best of 3 on one day, the second game on a second day, and the third game on another day. So it was insane how much time between each games happened. So players could really bring unique strategies and practice those strategies for specific matches on specific maps. By the way, this is Tau Cross. This is a classic on Icy Cup, so I'm super familiar. We see him dropping that factory, but the Zealot is already in Nada's base. How is he going to react to this? Pulling a few SCVs, and he sees the second Zealot. He's bringing back that Marine. The factory placement is great to allow that Marine to slip between the two, but with 2 Zealots out, this is going to be terrible for Nada. He's just running that Marine around, trying to get a surround on that Zealot. A second Marine pops out, but the probe kills that Marine, and oh no, his micro's starting to fall apart. The Marine cut in half by that Zealot, and this is going terribly for Nada. I do not think he was anticipating this. Obviously, scouting TT's base last, and we see finally the factory finishing and the vulture production beginning, but he is not mining at all. Nada just so desperate for this first vulture, trying to preserve that SCV count, but look at that army of Zealots. 5 Zealots already out, and it's all going to be coming down to this one vulture, trying to preserve those SCVs. He needs to get those SCVs out of there and give him some time to micro this vulture, because look at the health of those SCVs. They've got nothing left. He's actually lifting his command center now, fully all in on this one. Okay, he has 2 vultures now, and as we know with vultures, they can patrol, micro against Zealots forever. We see Nada doing an excellent job of that, now floating his barracks away, and he's going to take some time to just micro as best as he can to deny these Zealots. I wonder what TT is doing to follow this up. I wonder if he's gotten his gas. I can't quite tell from the minimap, but it looks like he has taken his gas, and if he is able to get out any amount of Dragoons at this point, that will spell doom for Nada. That Cybernetics core already getting up. He's also added a forge. It looks like he just wants to be super safe against something like proxy or something near his base. Those vultures finally starting to clean up these zealots, but he needs to kill those gateways before the dragoons are able to pop out, and that time is quickly evaporating. And oh no, losing 1, 2, 3. I think he lost 4 SCVs to that one zealot. Absolutely brutal, and the Cybernetics core is finished. Nada having no economy. There's no way he'd be able to get a tank out at this point, and I bet there are 2 dragoons queued up, and as soon as Nada sees that, it is all going to be over. Look at that, 3 SCVs. It looks like he did produce an additional zealot, so he is going to have a few more seconds before those goons pop out. Patrolling, a little trouble, and losing that vulture. That is so brutal. I don't think Nada has any chance left in this game. Likely going to tap out as soon as he sees that goon, and that will spell doom for game 1 on Taucross. Nada versus TT, and all of the SCVs are about to die. Can you imagine Nada having to wait another week before he gets to play game 2? Probably so frustrated, really having a hard time dealing with that in-base proxy. Great play from TT, like I mentioned, probably having so much time to practice that specific build on the matchup. We saw him checking the minerals to make sure that Nada is at that base and easily crushing Nada in game 1. I'll be back for game 2. I am going to do these games back to back just to try and tell the story, but these were originally done over multiple days. I'll see you for game 2.